Hello there, it's Andy Ewens from FormaServe once again. In this short how-to and IBM video, we'll be taking a look at an open source tool called NPM, Node Package Manager. If you are starting your journey with open source on the IBM there is one tool you need to know about, that's NPM. It's the #1 package manager out there, and learning this tool will certainly help your open source development go a lot smoother. NPM really does help and is worth the learning curve to gain the benefit of this great tool. It's popular for a reason. This quick video assumes you are familiar with working in a PACE SSH session. If not, check out a video using Windows Terminal for all your SSH usage. In the first part of this video, we will be taking a look at the basics of NPM, which will cover most of your daily NPM usage, and later on move on to the more advanced features of NPM. The main purpose of NPM is it makes it easy for JavaScript developers to share and reuse code. It makes it easy to update the code that you're sharing so you can build amazing things very quickly. Why reinvent the wheel? Let us start at the beginning. A Node package can be very simple and only contain 1 or 2 JavaScript files, or a more complex package which contains many JavaScript files and directories. For example, the debug package only has a few files, whereas the express package has quite a few more. For you as a developer, it makes no difference how many files are in a package, they are just there for you to use. NPM is used to drag into your project the packages you wish to use. Be aware that a project might have dependencies within their own package. NPM takes care of this too. NPM is part of the install of Node.js on the IBM and is installed globally, so we don't need to know where it is installed. Our path statement will take care of that. To upgrade NPM to the latest version, run npm install npm @latest-g. npm -version will show what version of NPM we now have. So I'm running version 7.18.1, the current version as of June 2021. Let us take a look at the first way we can use NPM. Typically, we will clone a project from GitHub, for example, and follow the install instructions for that project. Let us take a look at a project we developed for use with an article we wrote for the Powerwire publication. It's called f_weather, and we'll use weather APIs to display in a browser the current weather for a location that you specify. This project can be found in our GitHub repository, github.com/andyewens/f_weather. So let us follow the instructions and see where NPM comes into play. We will open a PACE shell session on the IBM and change over to the directory for this video, /f_learning/how03. Next we will use Git to clone the project. Git clone https github.com/andyewens/f_weather.git. The install instructions now say we have to change into that directory. So cd/f_weather. The next step is to use NPM to install all the packages and their dependencies that this project requires. So NPM install. This will chug away, installing everything we need to run this small application. Next, NPM start. And now our weather app is up and running for our users to access. We point our browser to port 4000, enter a city, London for example, and it is currently cloudy, typical for London in the summer. Let us go back and recap what happened from NPM's point of view. First question, what did the NPM install do? This command created a subdirectory in our project called Node Modules. In this directory are all the modules and their dependencies that our project needs. If we type in NPM List --step 0, it will show all the modules and their version that the NPM install downloaded for our project. For instance, we can see that our project will use the Node Express package at version 4. The next function of NPM we're taking a look at is NPM Init. NPM Init will initialize a new or an existing project. Generally speaking, any project that is using Node.js will need to have a Package.JSON file. So, what is this file? In its simplest form, this file contains details about your project. For example, the name of the project, its description, its author, licensing, etc. etc. We can use NPM Init on a new or an existing project to create the Package.JSON file for us. Let me create a new directory and move into it. Then run NPM Init. It will ask us questions about our project. Answer the questions and our Package.JSON file will get created. Here we can see our newly created Package.JSON file. When we use NPM Init on our projects, quite often we will use the same settings for the questions that the init program asks us. So let me show you how we can set the defaults for NPM Init. We use the NPM setinit- command to achieve this. For example, NPM setinit-author-name to the name we want, FormaServe Systems Limited. And we can do NPM setinit-license MIT. To check the default settings, use NPM get-init-author-name. I'm sure you get the drift of this. To remove any setting, use NPM config delete init-author-name, for example. The NPM website at npmjs.com shows all the values we can set. All these values are stored in the .npmrc file in our home directory. We can see this if we type ls, the home directory, /.npmrc. Let me just cat that file out so you can see the settings that's within it. Now, every time we use NPM Init, it will use the defaults we have just specified. Let me key that in. It will chug through the init. And at the end, we can see the two defaults we have set. And that's how easy it is to set defaults for NPM Init. As we said, these are held in the .npmrc file, which can now be distributed around your teams. To install a third-party package, we can easily do this with NPM. If we want to send emails in our project, we might want the Node Mailer package. We just specify NPM install Node Mailer. It will then install Node Mailer into the node_modules subdirectory of our project. And it would also add an entry to the Package.JSON file stating that the Node Mailer package is used within our project. If we now cat our Package.JSON file, we can see the Node Mailer entry. We can also see our dependencies if we type npm list. So there is Node Mailer at version 6.6.2. By adding it to the Package.JSON file, anytime we do an NPM install, it will look for all the dependencies we need, and if it's not installed, it will install it for us. Let me add another package just to emphasize this. NPM Install Express. This one takes a bit longer. Now in our Package.JSON file, we can see that Express has been added as a dependency. A NPM list now shows Express and NodeMailer as dependencies. All good. So any package that is specified in the Package.JSON file under dependencies requires that package to run in production. So what about development dependencies? Let us move on to them. Developer dependencies, as you can guess, are only used in the development stage of our project and are used for unit testing, development, linting, running test scripts, etc. etc. To use NPM to install a development dependency, for instance, JS-hint, we NPM install, just the same, JS-hint and -D. Let's install another one while we're here. If we want Nodemon to be installed as a dev dependency, we just type NPM install Nodemon -D. Now if we take a look at our package.json, we can see we have dependencies under development. They will not be required to run in production. Let us now move on to package versioning, also known as semantic versioning, SEMver for short. NPM uses three parts for versioning. Up to the first dot is the major version, up to the second dot is the minor version, and the third dot is the patch release. For example, the version we installed of NodeMailer was at major version 6, minor version 6, and the patch level at 2. In front of each version in the package.json file is a special character. This special character tells NPM when to update your packages. The first one is the tilde character. It means your project will accept any patch level updates. The second one is the up arrow. Minor updates and any patch level updates are allowed in your project. And the third one is the asterisk symbol, which means you will take any updates to the package. Beware with this one, could potentially break your coding. So more testing on that one. These are the most commonly found symbols. Again, for other characters, check out npmjs.com. Let me show you an example of this versioning in one of our package.json files. Here we can see three dependencies. If I run an NPM install, it will check to see if there are any updates to any of these packages. ftraining will take any updates to the patch version, whereas fmtd will take any updates to the patch version and or the minor version. ftp will accept any updates, whether they are patch, minor or major updates. Be aware of the star symbol, the asterisk. This could lead to potentially breaking your coding, so you have to be very careful with the asterisk symbol. So with NPM, we really can control the packages our project will use. If we want to install a package globally, so it's there for all packages we develop, we run the NPM install with the -G flag. For example, if we want to install Nodemon globally, we run NPM install Nodemon -G. Personally, I'm not a great lover of installing packages globally. It can cause problems with developing in teams. Which packages a developer has installed globally on his machine is really difficult to keep control of. I'm much more in favour of using the dev dependencies for this purpose. Again, if you have different views, please let me know. To list out all the packages you have globally installed, you can use the npm list -G command. On this box you can see we have 5 packages that have been installed globally. If we do a directory listing on our project, we will see a Package-lock.json file there too. Before I explain what's in this file, let me list out all the dependencies along with any package that they are dependent upon. To do this, I run npm list -depth1, which will show that scenario. Also, while I'm here, let me show you npm list -all, which shows all the other packages that have dependencies too. You have to agree, a long list for only having 2 packages installed into our project. Getting slightly off track there, never mind. Back to the Package-lock.json. Let me cut that file out. Lots and lots of information in there. It contains the versions of the dependencies, and so on and so on. When we do an NPM install, or NPMI, which is a shortcut, it will check the lock file to ensure dependencies are at the correct level too. It is important to have this lock file included within your source control so that all the developers are working under the same list for dependencies of dependencies. When we install a package, 9 times out of 10 we want the latest version, and that's what NPM I gives us. If I want the Lodash package, I just run NPM I Lodash. But if I want Lodash at a certain version, I can use NPM I Lodash and then the @ sign and the version number. For example, NPM I Lodash at 1.0.0, which give me version 1 of it. For the latest version, I can run NPM I Lodash at latest. So a couple of ways there we can actually use different versions if we need to. If we know that some of the packages in our project have updates, how do we get them? The first command to run is the NPM Outdated, which will list all the packages that need updating. Here we can see that Nodemailer has an update. The one we have installed is version 6.5, but now there is a 6.6.2 version. A quick NPM update will update this package. Then, if we run NPM Outdated again, it shows all clear. Our packages are up to date. That's how simple it is to update your packages with NPM. So that's how we deal with packages within our project. Let me show you another couple of great features of NPM. The first one is auditing. NPM checks for known vulnerabilities against a known database of problems and will let you know if it finds any issues. Let me install Express at a low version. NPM install Express at 4.1.x as an example. Now we can see that Express is installed, but it found 11 vulnerabilities and gives us a couple of recommendations. Either to run NPM Audit, which gives us a list of all the recommendations, or NPM Audit Fix -- false. Let me run the false option, NPM Audit Fix -- false, and now it's saying 0 vulnerabilities. Job done. A very useful feature. If we take a look at our Package.JSON file in Visual Studio Code, we can see the benefits of using this IDE. If we look at the dependencies and hover the cursor over the packages, a pop-up shows the latest version of that package with a link to that package itself. A nice touch. It is worth mentioning, while we can see the packages here, that it is not advisable to change the version numbers of the packages. It can cause you grief. Use NPM if you need to change versions of the packages in your project. While we are in Visual Studio Code, I've added another couple of sections to our Package.JSON file. The first part to discuss is the script section. We use this section to run our project. The first line, called test, was added by NPM Init command and can be amended if you want to run any test scripts on your project. The second line, called start, sets an environment variable, then executes the Nodemon command with the legacy flag running bin/www. The third line, called ESLint, runs the ESLinter program over the initial script bin/www. The fourth line is used if we want to run the project in a Windows environment, as the syntax is slightly different. Now we have these set up, how do we run them? We use npm run and the name of the script to run. For example, npm run test. To run the Nodemon script, we specify npm run start. For both the test and the run scripts, we can omit the run command and just specify npm test and npm start shortcuts. So another great feature of NPM, we can set up an environment and run scripts within it. The last part I'm going to mention on the Package.JSON file is the Nodemon configuration. If you don't know, Nodemon monitors for any file changes within our project, and if it finds any, restarts the node server. Very useful. The configuration we have in our Package.JSON states a restart shortcut, RS. Then we have, if any files change on the node modules or the DB directories, for our database for example, do not restart the application, it will omit these. And then wait for 2,500 milliseconds before restarting. Then we set some environment variables for the node environment, debug, and finally we specify the port number for our application to run. If you need any further details about open source or IBMI, check out all our videos at learning.formaserve.co.uk and the articles we have written for Powerwire.eu. I hope you find them useful and let us know if there are any other topics you want us to cover. Even through these difficult times, my company, FormaServe, is still providing training on our favourite platform, the IBMI. Whether it's remotely, through a mask, we are still here for you. If it's traditional programming using RPG and CL, or the modern methods of integrating open source into your infrastructure, we are here to help. We have over 30 years of teaching on the IBMI. Why not use us to get up to date and be at the forefront of the post-pandemic world? FormaServe uses Microsoft Teams software to develop top-notch training material. Take a look. You will not be disappointed. As many students have found, all our training is very informal. It's the way to learn. Find out what it's like to have fun while training. And that wraps up this quick video. Thank you for watching our how-to on IBMI video set. I hope you found them useful. Keep checking out our website learning.formaserve.co.uk and our YouTube channel. We regularly add new ones. Stay safe and we'll see you soon. Thank you.